Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. This time, I would like to introduce to you three guests that we have coming from Stephen F. Austin University. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So let's start to my far left with Dr. Mario Morera. So,
Hola, hello. I'm Mario. I'm from Costa Rica. I teach Spanish translation, Spanish for native speakers, and I'm also in charge of our study abroad programs in Brazil and Spain. Real pleasure to be here, beautiful university. And as for my academic interest, mostly I do my work in science fiction, dystopian literature, and lately I have been getting a lot of personal interest in studying graphic novels from an academic point of view.
very good. Thank you. And then we have.
Hi, hola. My name is Gabriela, Dr. Gabriela Miranda Recinos, and I regularly teach all levels of language. I teach also history, literature, and in particular, I've been teaching for the past years. I have been teaching Latino literature, which is the literary production from the United States of Latinos. And it's super interesting. We also teach graduate courses. We have a graduate program in Stephen F. Austin. And as far as my literary interest, I basically study two regions in Latin America, Colombia and Mexico. And I like the work from 21st century writers, narrative writers. And I'm so nervous. Sorry.
You're doing good. Very good.
Yeah, so that's my research interest. It's a novel, and it's Colombia and it's Mexico.
Muy bien, muy bien. And then we have.
Jose Neftali Recinos, also professor and the husband of this beautiful woman. My research interest varies from Central America to Mexico, especially those narratives created after the civil wars in Central America, post-war narratives, as well as post-human studies. Those are my research interests, but at the same time, we are trying to get into this particular area of study, which is the hard boiled and la novela negra, the detective stories that are very intriguing and new to me. I have always been interested in this type of fiction, but from the point of view of just uh, reading for fun, not to study, but as of the last 2 years, I've been trying to get into developing a criteria, theoretical criteria to approach the study of these particular narratives. At the university, I also teach, just like my colleagues, all different levels of Spanish, basic Spanish, intermediate to literature to graduate courses. Until very recently, I was the graduate coordinator for master's program. And this is a commercial over here. If you're interested in studying your master's program in Texas, right, Texas, you're welcome to talk to us.
That's a, that's a very good note that you're giving us. I'll have to say to our viewers that there is my class that is watching us, so I'm particularly interested in you guys paying attention to this information. Maybe you would like to take a dive into graduate courses in Spanish. This is certainly a good opportunity, Stephen F. Austin. We are presently at Southeastern Louisiana University, and we have these wonderful guests because we are having a conference called Fanfare Conference organized by the History Department of History. This time, this conference has thought of creating one day in particular to devoted to a day of Latin culture. So we invited these three guests, and they are going to present to us information, a lecture, three different lectures on crime fiction, what we call noir fiction or novela negra or género negro, no? The noir genre. Um, what is it? Which is the work? This is my question to each of them. What is the work that you're going to analyze, that you're going to talk about, that you've read, and what is it that you're going to present? Can you summarize to us briefly what you're going to talk about tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm going to be presenting Operación Bolívar. It's a graphic novel by writer Edgar Clement. Actually, he's working right now for Marvel Studio, actually. And it's so interesting. I don't know where to start, but summarizing, okay, it is a battle between angels, soldiers, police forces, etc. And all in all, what is happening is that we have angel hunters, okay? And angels, Catholic mythology, they are being hunted in order to create artificial ingredients, in order to create robots, in order to create the upcoming perfect soldier. And in order to do this, they hire angel hunters from Mexico who are unwillingly uncovering this huge plot regarding enslaving Latin America in order to make everyone become addicted to something they call angel dust, which is the new kind of popular drug that is upcoming in the future. And by doing this, they are planning to create a need for everyone to be controlled by that kind of new drug. And in that sense, they are going to make a huge, very sharp criticism of not only narco groups in Latin America and the States, but also the negative aspects of globalization. That's pretty much what the graphic novel is about.
That's very, very interesting, and I think we're gonna have a lot of questions.
Ah, I love
for
it.
that now. And then what do we have? Okay.
Well, I'll be presenting two novels, okay, from Colombia, 21st century, by the same author, Juan Gabriel Vasquez. And the first novel is called The Sound of Things Falling, and the second novel is called The Shape of the Ruins. Both novels have been translated into English, and they can be read as two volumes. Okay, the first volume deals with the first 50 years of difficult and troubling history and violence that is lived in Colombia during that very first part, which is 50 years. And the second book, the Sound of Things Falling, focuses its attention on the latter part of the 21st century, which is the period where there were a lot of political violent attacks. So they're difficult novels to read, and I will say that one of the points that he makes is that history shapes us individuals, and not only that, the environment, the way we live, the way we experience the environment is what makes us. So throughout the novels, you will see in my presentation how history is read, how history is understood by the characters, in the violent outcomes of that. They will also, and I will have to mention that there is a presence of the narco traffickers right not in the foreground, but in the background of the novel. So the narco trafficker is no longer the principal figure in these works. So we have that as a change in the narratives of the 21st century Colombian writers. So we don't have narco narratives. It's much more the history of the individual, of what I lived in that particular space, how I lived it, how I experienced it. That's what the part that interests me most.
Right. That's very good. Very good. Excellent. And then we have, what is your presentation?
Well, I will be presenting Juan Villoro and his novel El Testigo, The Witness. And I will not be giving you too many details because one of my intentions is to create an expectation of what to see and look for in this particular narrative. One important aspect is for us as US readers is that we have these expectations. We have these particular predetermined conceptions of what we expect to see in Latin American literature, and that particular literature published south of the border. And what I will try to do with my presentation is to create a set of expectations about this particular novel. How this novel, El Testigo, The Witness, is a sort of an anti-noir, an anti-detective novel. And I will be making a list of what you need to look for. And I will not be giving you exactly the story because there is a secret that you need to look for in this particular novel. But if I give you a secret, you will not read Villoro because Villoro is one of the at this particular moment, for me, is the best writer from Mexico, and it hasn't been translated to English. Okay, even though this particular novel I think, is the best novel that he has written. This will be his magnus opus, right? He hasn't been published to English. Very few books by Villoro have been translated to English. It has been translated to many other languages, though. Okay, but here in the States, it seems like people has not getting into reading his fiction, and I will try to awaken the desire to read his work tomorrow.
That's very, very interesting, and maybe something for us to think about. No, maybe we can translate short stories or one whole novel and see how we can move along in promoting this type of literature.